Often the reason why we don't have certainty, is because we are confused. Yeah? Confused? Does that make sense? Now, the fascinating thing about confusion, so I'm going to go to confusion first before we deal with certainty. If we don't know anything about something, we're not confused. When we know nothing about something, there's no confusion. We know nothing. The only time we start getting confused is when we know something. How bizarre is this? We are absolutely not confused when we know nothing. The moment we start getting to know something about it, we start getting confused. So of course my thing is, don't learn about anything. The reality is, if we're feeling confused, it absolutely means we're halfway there. Good. Say that again. If we're feeling confused, it means we're halfway there.
Rabbit fish.
Actually, I'll use rabbit fish a little bit later. Because there's something about that rabbit fish. I wanted to actually ask you in the break, but we had a conversation about rabbit fish. You'll understand later. But the reality is that when we have no information, we're not confused. The moment we start gathering information, we start getting confused. And the trick about it is to go, yes, I'm halfway there. Or in some instances, a quarter way there. Because confusion is a good indicator rather than a bad indicator. Am I making sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah? So we've got to keep going rather than, I'm confused, come on. Which is what we usually do. You confused?
What if your confusion's like weighing you down, like trying to swim in your clothes? It's like, it's just all...
Well, I wouldn't swim in my clothes.
No, but it's all consumed. You just got so much confusion.
Okay. Which brings us to this principle of certainty. It's, hold that thought, so much confusion. Because often what happens is one of the reasons why we can't get certain about something is that we've got a few things going on. Yeah? And we tend to get overwhelmed by a few things going on. So let me see if I can draw this. If we're looking at something, this is a very good picture. If we're looking at that thing and it's radiating or whatever, hey, we can look at that thing and go, fine. But if we've got this and this and this and that and this and this all going on at the same time, what's going to happen? We're going to go into overwhelm. It's almost impossible to get certainty on this thing because all of these other things are firing off, shooting off. There's too much going on. In essence, what we've got to do is try and do something like this, and put a barrier between all of those other things and the thing we're trying to concentrate on. And the moment we shut down these things, what tends to happen is this, we can start looking at it and getting more certainty on it. Does that make sense? I've used this example before. And I may as well use it again. Years ago, now, thank goodness, my wife got sick. She was pregnant, she was unwell, she was having operations, we were moving house, there was a child on the way, and my father was dying, and my mother was unwell, her mother wasn't... I mean, it was endless. Confusion? Sure. Lack of certainty? All over the place. Until you go, you know what? I'm only going to look at one thing. And I can remember seeing the doctor and him going, oh, blah, 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 blah. And had I just gone, oh, well, I'm confused, you're the boss, you tell me what to do, what would have happened was, well, our gorgeous child wouldn't even be around. Because I would have just taken their supposed wise advice. Whereas I went, you know what? He's saying X. Let me think about that. I'll put everything on one side, which I did, and I gave it some thought. And came back with the conclusion of, that doesn't work for me. Kerry was going, I don't know, we must just do whatever. You remember, sweetheart? He's listening. I went, this doesn't work for me. I need more information. But I don't feel like this is the answer. Single-minded, absolutely on one track. And had I been swayed and had allowed all those other things, I probably would have, oh, whatever, just, went through a challenging time. So even sometimes shutting down other stuff, it may be difficult to look at this thing, and often what happens is we choose to just go, oh, it's too much. And then we can't make any decisions about anything, because it's all coming at us. And then in that moment, what happens is, other people make the decisions for us. This guy was top of his field. He was highly respected. He was all the right things. And in that instance I went, it doesn't work for us. He said, do rush, it's quite important. I went, I get that. So there's an example. And there were a lot of things going on. Lots. Oh, we just got married too. About a month later...
It could have been the wrong decision, sorry, to be medical, but it could have been the wrong decision quite majorly. So, and other people have probably experienced that. What?
Just me saying, hang on a minute.
I'm not saying hang on a minute, you made a choice one way and it's worked out okay for you.
Yes, I know.
Other people have made that choice and it's worked out quite catastrophically, I would imagine.
Yes, I think the thing was, I wasn't being silly about it. A, it didn't feel right, and B, I went, I need more information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut everything else down and go hunting for the information. Which then got me more certainty, more clarity. So one of the things I talk about, and it comes out somewhere here, is speak to someone. Go and ask somebody what they think about a situation. Go for advice. So, Andrea was wondering about the rabbit or the fish. Well, she was wondering about a rabbit, actually. And phoned me, because there had been a rabbit last lecture. There was a rabbit in the garden, well, in a hutch. And she wanted to gather some more information. And Kerry had gone, tell her no, don't have a rabbit. And I was going, well, maybe she wants a rabbit. Let her go mine. Which sounds like she still hasn't. The point about this certainty, and let's get back on track here. The point about certainty is that often the reason why we can't get certain about something is because there's too many other things going on. We've got to shut some files down. Yes.
Are you also saying that those other things, which obviously would involve perhaps other people,
yes,
that you have to make that decision what's important to you at that time, and you cannot take on board all the other things? So you've got to say, I've got to deal with this because I need to focus on that. So therefore, the other things, regardless of what people may think, you have to live by your decision and say, it's important to me to focus on this. Sorry if you can't accept that, but is that the way you're going with
that's
this?
the principle, and we talk about this in other lectures, but that's the principle of being selfish rather than self-centered. Yeah. Selfish is good, because I'm going to look after myself, therefore I can look after other people.